In the 1990s, one name dominated the world of mobile technology: Nokia. Not Apple, not Samsung, just Nokia. At its peak, Nokia controlled more than 50% of the global mobile phone market. That's not just dominance, that's monopoly-level power. Think about it. Everyone had a Nokia. The indestructible 3310. The futuristic communicator series. Phones that felt like tanks, but functioned like dreams. Behind this global success was a Finnish company that once sold rubber boots and toilet paper. But through bold decisions and visionary leadership, they pivoted into mobile networks, then into mobile phones, and changed the world. They weren't just selling phones, they were shaping culture. Nokia's ringtone became a global sound. Their slogan, "Connecting people," wasn't just marketing, it was a mission. In the early 2000s, they had thousands of engineers, the best supply chains in Europe, and patents on almost every mobile innovation. They weren't chasing trends, they were creating them. But, as history often shows, the top is the most dangerous place to be. Behind closed doors, cracks were forming, layers of bureaucracy, internal divisions, an aging operating system, and worst of all, confidence that nothing could go wrong. This is the story of how Nokia didn't just rise, it soared. But in doing so, it may have lost sight of how quickly the world can change. Before Android, before iPhones, there was Nokia, and they thought they'd always be number one. January 9th, 2007, San Francisco. Steve Jobs walks onto the stage and says, "Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone." The crowd laughs nervously, applauds. They don't fully realize yet that they are witnessing a revolution. But back in Finland, at Nokia's headquarters, they weren't worried. They had seen new players come and go. BlackBerry, Motorola, Palm, all of them were competitors once. A company that had never made a phone? Nokia executives scoffed. It's just a toy. But the iPhone wasn't just a phone. It was a full-blown computer, a touch experience, a software-first model. And it was a product built around one idea: simplicity. Nokia, in contrast, had become a fortress of complexity. Dozens of models, multiple operating systems, and an interface that felt like it belonged to another era. As the iPhone gained traction, Nokia's internal teams began to worry. Engineers warned leadership. Developers requested changes. But decisions took time. And in tech, time is death. Apple was iterating, updating, improving. Nokia? It was still debating. This was the turning point. The moment when the world pivoted and Nokia hesitated. By the time they took the iPhone seriously, it was already too late. Not because Apple was unbeatable, but because Nokia couldn't admit that they'd been caught off guard. By 2008, Nokia was at a crossroads. The market was shifting. iPhone was exploding. Android was rising. Nokia had two options. 1, embrace Android and compete in the new mobile era. 2, double down on their legacy operating system, Symbian. And that decision changed everything. Symbian was old, clunky, not designed for touchscreens. Developers hated it. It took months to create simple apps, and even longer to get them running smoothly. Meanwhile, Android offered a fresh start. A clean, flexible OS, backed by Google, loved by manufacturers. But Nokia, they said no. Internally, the company was divided. Engineers begged for change. UX teams pointed out flaws. But upper management believed, we built Symbian. We must protect it. That mindset, pride over practicality, is what doomed them. In this part of the story, we explore how Nokia's refusal to let go of the past cost them the future. By 2010, Android had taken over. Developers were flocking to it. Samsung was gaining ground. Nokia, still loyal to Symbian, began to bleed. Not instantly, but steadily. And the company that once led the world was now watching from the sidelines. A bold move. Nokia announces a strategic partnership with Microsoft. Windows Phone was the new platform. A fresh start, a chance to compete. But it wasn't ready. The OS lacked apps. The UI was unfamiliar. The developer community wasn't interested. And consumers? They were already choosing sides, Android or iOS. Nokia's new CEO, Stephen Elop, a former Microsoft executive, pushed for the deal. Internally, many saw it as betrayal. Nokia, once proudly independent, was now tied to another sinking ship. Layoffs followed. Factories closed. Stocks fell. The burning platform memo, a dramatic internal letter from Elop, made headlines, but motivation turned into panic. Windows phones launched, but no one cared. Samsung zuot. Apple exploded. Nokia, despite innovation, was trapped. The alliance with Microsoft didn't save them. It accelerated the collapse. And in 2014, just 3 years later, Nokia's mobile division was sold. A chapter ended. Not with a bang, but with a whisper. So let's ask the question. Could Nokia have survived? Could they have beaten Apple? Could they still be the leader in smartphones today? Yes. They had the tools, the people, the patents. But what they lacked was the courage to change. Nokia's downfall is not just a business story. It's a human one. About ego, about fear, about refusing to listen. Time and time again, teams inside Nokia saw the danger. They warned leadership. They proposed innovation. But the old guard clung to what worked before. This final part of the story is not about blame. It's about reflection. In tech, the only constant is change. And if you're not adapting, you're dying. Nokia's fall is a warning, not just to corporations, but to all of us. Innovate, stay humble, listen, or become a memory, like the ringtone we all once heard and now barely remember.